I heard a song on the radio the other day. It's a very bad song. I had forgot that it existed. You guys ever hear this band called Puddle of Mud?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
No. Puddle of mud.
Yeah. And so I was flipping through the radio because my favorite radio station had a song on that annoyed me. It was that one where he's like, "I love the way you smack my ass," and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so terrible."
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
did I tell you guys about butt rock? Have I told you this story yet? Okay, so I listened to a podcast called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s.
Yes.
And he finished the 90s, and Rob Harvilla is the guy's name. Shout out Rob Harvilla. And he's doing 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, the 2000s now. And he did the Nickelback episode, where apparently, I didn't know this was a thing, but Nickelback and Puddle of Mud and bands of that ilk are referred to as butt rock, B-U-T-T rock, because... Not for the reason you think, because the radio stations in the early 2000s all said, WXQK 104.9, nothing but rock. And that's where the name butt rock comes from, which I thought that was the funniest shit I heard. Really
I gotta tell you, I rather like that.
Yeah.
See,
it's a double meaning.
I heard that song and I thought, this is the kind of song that you play at a really terrible strip club on a Tuesday at noon. You know, like that's the vibe of that
when
song.
only the regulars are there. It's not.
There's
no
one
bachelor
guy
parties.
with his sweatpants on, and
I feel attacked right now.
Do you like that song?
No, because I have sweatpants on.
But yeah, it's all context, Bert. It's all
Yeah.
context. I mean, I'm in sweatpants too, but I'm in my house on a Friday night, and I'm in almost 50. So,
don't say that.
I love the way you smack my ass. The chorus is, "I love the way you look at me. I love the way you smack my ass. I love the dirty things you do when I have control of you."
You had like a Lawrence Welk thing happening there for just a second.
Yeah, it's poetry. You can't help but say it fancy.
Dramatic reading of Puddle of Mud.
There's your opener, Bert.
That's right. That's the cold open. There you go.
It is cold. Cold as a puddle of mud.
Cold as a puddle of mud.
If you know this song, then what?
Then you lived through butt rock.
100.
I'm Bert.
I'm Drew.
I'm Ron.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the 100 Albums Podcast, where we discuss the ins, the outs, and the absurdities of a poster depicting 100 seemingly random albums. The only music podcast that doesn't play any of the music that we talk about. Hey, guys.
What up?
Give me a beat. We pull up at the function, and we Kojak to all the podcast people that are on our Bozak. We've got more action than my man John Woo, and we hit this pod like we were Rod Carew.
Jeez Louise.
Nice.
Well, hello there, 100 Albums family. We're honored that you've chosen to listen to the dulcet tones of our voices while you drive or ride the metro or simply exist. Or in the case of Ron, doing the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Hey, if you've been following along, you know that last week we talked about our 20th album from the poster, At Folsom Prison by Johnny Cash. What you may not have realized during that episode, since we didn't mention it, is that album was the final album of season 1. We're done with season 1 of the podcast, guys.
That's not, I thought you were going to say what they didn't realize is that we listened to that album while we were in prison. But that's a good call. No, it was the season ender.
But good surprise. So that was the season ender. So what's next? Tonight, over some spirited beverages or a 1X IPA, we're going to dive into a bracket-style playoff of the first 20 albums from the poster. Each of the albums will be pitted against one another in head-to-head matchups. We'll discuss these albums. in each round, and then we'll vote, the four of us, because there's never a problem when you have an even number of people voting.
So how are we going to break the tie, Bert?
Well,
we'll figure that out when a tie occurs.
Leo's here to break the ties.
We're
good.
Hopefully we'll be able to find a spouse, significant other, or daughter. Because I imagine
Dogger.
Dogger.
He growls like, look.
Don't call me Dogger.
So if we say a name and he growls, then that team wins.
Wow,
That'd be.
There you go.
Okay.
So
Anyway.
that's so what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a bracket, single elimination. We're gonna pit these albums against one another, and we'll talk about them as we go through it. Talk about what our journey has been, both here on the podcast, on the original listen, on the poster, and perhaps other points in our lives. And I seeded the bracket in the order that we listened to the albums. However, there is a first four pre-round kind of matchup, which is where we'll be starting. So first up, guys, we've got Aretha Franklin, I've Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, against Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
And two
Bullshit.
of the
Let the
most
battle
dissimilar, such dissimilar albums.
Yeah.
It's like two of my favorite albums. How the hell did this have to come up?
Well, Ron, you could
first?
abstain, and
happens.
then we'd have a trio to vote.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that. No, I got too much to say about this one.
I'm ready to vote, and I think anyone who's listened to the podcast knows exactly where I'm going to land.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses. We all listen to you.
No,
Oh, we've got visuals.
Ryan has the cue cards.
Aretha, all the way. I mean, she is the turkey cutlet of my soul, and she does not cheese me out like Guns N' Roses. Everyone who knows me knows I'm not going after GNR.
Oh, God. All right, someone else go.
Ron is conflicted.
I am, man. I love both of these.
Well,
Someone else go.
a choice has to be made. Is the damn reality you're going to have to face, as hard as it may be. I had this conversation with myself every time we did this, and a few times it was easy, but sometimes it was very hard, man. So I'm with you, Ron.
So who are you going with?
Well, here's what I decided. I was creating a maybe an avatar, but more of a character for each group that we had, and then I was going to visualize a face off for these two groups, and that was how I was going to battle these out. And here's a good example. I decided I couldn't come up with so everybody had a superpower, and it kind of got weird. It got weird. So I'm like,
I mean, I want to know more about this.
Wait, yeah,
I don't
wait.
even care about the poster anymore.
I know that Kevin Feige,
Yes,
who's a big fan of the podcast, is now like, oh, musicians with superhero abilities?
That's what I'm saying. Based on their albums, even more dialed in. But it wasn't good enough. So I just decided I was going to choose a song that represented each album and face those songs against each other. So here you have GNR with their Hairspray and everything. Welcome to the Jungling down the street with Axl right in your face. And Aretha, even though it's not on this album, in her appearance from the Blues Brothers singing Think right back in their face, going at it. Bash, bash, bash. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
You dick. I thought you were coming out with something.
well, let's talk about this just really quickly.
It's going back and forth right now.
This is going to be a long episode.
I was just going to say it's going to be really long. Really quickly, just for context for everybody, Aretha Franklin, our group average scoring was a 6.63, and for Appetite for Destruction is a 6.13.
Yeah, they're close.
Aretha scored higher,
barely.
and it's no doubt due to Ryan.
Hey,
I'm just saying, Ryan, you gave GNR
Guns N' Roses.
You gave GNR a 3 and Aretha a 6.5. So,
well, I'm sorry, I'm the only one with ears.
so here's the thing though, as I was thinking about it, like, so we're talking, Drew, I appreciate that you referenced or were thinking of Blues Brothers, because her performance in that movie is fantastic. But we're talking about this album,
Right.
I think that I'm going to
All right.
disqualify you.
All right, I got my choice. I got
got
my
my
choice.
card.
Ron, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go with Guns N' Roses because if this was Aretha Franklin's Young, Gifted, and Black album, I'd go Young, Gifted, and Black. But it's not. I'm going Guns N' Roses.
All right, Ron, with very little respect. What do you got, Drew?
Well, since I've got a yellow card here, I'll go back to the album. The representative of this album, I figured, would have to be actually Change Is Gonna Come, but it's also not the hardest hitting. So if we go back to that, it'd be Respect. So now it's got Respect against Welcome to the Jungle. Because this is such a good Guns N' Roses album, it's hard not to say that they get it. But longevity wise, I think I have to give it to Aretha. Career longevity wise.
So I
know, Ron. I'm sorry, man.
No, that was to Ryan, not you.
So I'm
here's-
all
for one last example of why. Because in the next round, when I immediately I voted for Guns N' Roses, didn't I?
No.
no, you said Aretha.
Who?
It's
how
how conflicted
you
I
doing,
am.
Drew?
Someone's
I'm
been
good.
pre-gaming.
No.
Do a shot.
Yeah. So yeah, they would lose out.
Drew, you're thinking way too much, man.
Yeah.
It's first
go
round.
ahead. Bert,
Just
take
no,
over.
no. What do you got?
What I was going to say, I'm also going with Aretha. So Aretha's going to move into the second round here. I'm going with Aretha based on kind of the career longevity, and I think, as we talked about in the Aretha episode, Respect is one of the, like, everyone knows that song. Everyone, like, kids know that song, old people know that, everyone in between. That's it. I think that for me personally, if I'm going to sit down and listen to, I'm like, I want to listen to a whole album. I think I'd probably pull GNR off the shelf.
Then what are you voting for?
Right?
Well, no, it's Drew's point about career longevity and kind of the impact that it had on music and society and that kind of stuff. Long after, Aretha's gone, long after GNR is gone, people will still be talking about Aretha. I don't think they'll still be talking about GNR. Present company accepted, Ron.
I think
Ron will be talking about GNR forever.
I think album to album, if we really, because it's almost unfair to say careers, but that's going to keep coming up.
Yeah.
But album to album, those, I remember my words on that podcast. The songs that hit on the GNR record are so good, but the others are really not. So to me, that justifies it even more.
Yeah. Okay. So Aretha wins, and that was
I've never seen such disgust in Ron's face.
10 minutes on one matchup. So.
Oh,
Okay.
that's going to be the hardest one, man. That's going to be
Okay.
the hardest one.
Okay, next up, Wu-Tang Clan enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers against Amy Winehouse, Back to Black.
I'll go first.
I love how Ryan is just like, yep, decided. Right
I
there.
like how Ryan is using a visual medium for a fucking podcast.
So first of all, I guess I'm the only one that studied the bracket before coming on. So yeah, I have answers already. Also, if you've listened to the episodes, you know that unless we can get Sharon Jones, I'm out on the Amy Winehouse album. My wife bought the album for me.
I love your wife, dude. She's
So-
fucking awesome.
The answer is A. Wu-Tang.
That's great. Drew.
B,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
1,000 Bs. Not only was I not there to help Amy during our podcast, but I have no real need to justify it. I like it way better.
Yeah.
Drew,
No.
I don't want to be around you if you got 1,000 Bs. That sounds terrifying.
Oh, that would be bad. But yeah, no. I liked the Wu-Tang. I did, because I had never listened to it before.
Yeah.
I'd never got Wu-Tanged. But yeah, Amy all the way.
Ron.
And this is another tough matchup for me. God damn it. I'll probably have to go with Wu-Tang because I've listened to so much Amy Winehouse and I absolutely love her, but I really like the backing band. I hate to be on Team Ryan for this one, but the Wu-Tang has been
You hate to be on Ryan's team.
Oh my! I'm having flashbacks from like high school, like when we were in gym class,
Getting picked
like,
last.
oh god, I gotta be on Ryan's team.
I think
it's all about first round, man. You done fucked up my Guns N' Roses. I mean, that's it, dude.
So I'm also going Wu-Tang, but I think this is a good time. Maybe even in the last round it's fair to say that just because you're voting for one album over another doesn't mean that you don't like I liked the Amy Winehouse album. I really, really did. And it opened up some new things for me that I hadn't heard before. I'd only ever heard the one song, the Rehab, and the rest of the album I really liked. But I mean, I'm Wu-Tang forever, baby. Okay,
You're right though, Bert. That's a good call out. I mean, just like even though I like the ranch ones, these new Nashville hot Eucharistos are just so much better to me, and I like.
Do you have a bowl of Eucharistos on hand right now?
Well, look, sponsors.
Did they send you any?
Yeah, I mean, as Ron mentioned, it's not a visual medium, so people can't see this at home. But yeah, I'm chowing down.
Exactly.
I got like a case of them behind me of Eucharistos.
All right, next up, let's go with U2 versus Dolly Parton. U2 Joshua Tree, Dolly Parton Jolene.
Yeah, that's Dolly Parton all the way.
Dolly Parton.
Anybody not doing Dolly Parton? Drew?
Man, no, definitely Dolly Parton. But that's a weird matchup too.
It's a really weird matchup.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm conflicted less about the choice.
Dolly's next round's even weirder.
Then Dolly
versus Metallica. But,
yeah. Well,
no, I think that one. I mean, songwrite again. The Jolene. I will always love you. But again, kind of the same with the Aretha, right? People are gonna be talking about those songs for a long, 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 long time.
I mean, they'll be doing that with a lot of the U2 songs too. That's not why I discredit that album. As if for those that didn't listen, I think album wise, it's just too much of the same flavor.
Yeah.
If I had one song that I could extract from the U2 album and Drew's method of face-to-face combat of song, it would be much harder for me to decide actually. But that album, well, we don't need to get back into that, do we?
Yeah.
So this matchup,
go back and listen to that episode for those who don't know what Ryan's talking about.
This matchup would be U2 standing up on the that roof, singing "Where the Streets Have No Name," and Dolly just down on the street in a what do you call that, a seat, with her guitar singing Jolene, firing back.
Yeah.
And like the anger waves matching it and pushing their waves back.
This is very anime. I like this.
And then they explode.
He's really painting a picture. Okay,
next up. Explode.
Next up, Ray Charles, Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music versus Michael Jackson, Thriller.
And
I'll go first this time. Michael
Go
Jackson,
on, Bert.
on the way. 100% all the way. Yep.
This is a stinker of an album. Sorry, Ron. What?
Man, if it was Ray Charles versus Jackson's what is it? Off the Wall.
Yeah.
Oh, different conversation, but
I don't think it is. And Ron,
really?
Ray
you
Charles,
hate to be on Team Ron. I know.
I hate to be on Team Ron. I actually, I did the homework that you assigned us on that episode, and I went back and I did appreciate the album more after listening to the original songs and hearing his take on them. But the overall flavor of the schmaltziness for an album is difficult for me to sit down and want to put on. And even though the Michael Jackson reads as a greatest hits album, those are some great hits.
Oh, they are. I mean, you can't deny that album. That's some landmark shit. So I'm gonna go with Ray Charles.
I think it's worthy of pointing out. So I mentioned earlier some of the scores that we had between Michael Jackson and Ray Charles. Michael Jackson got a 6.67, and Ray Charles got a 4.50. So we rated Michael Jackson Thriller higher than Ray Charles. But I think what's interesting is, as I was looking at how we scored, and granted, scores don't necessarily mean anything in this conversation because we're talking about like 2 years ago when we actually rated these albums initially. But I thought it was really interesting if you look at the spreadsheet that Sage put together for us. In the first 20 albums, with Johnny Cash being last, she designed it so that if an artist got an 8 or higher, it's green. There's only 3 albums that are green in the top 20, or in this 20. And Michael Jackson's not one of them. I was kind of surprised to see that Michael Jackson Thriller, which you'd think would be a contender, is only a 6 and 2/3. So anyway,
He's a contender.
He's a contender. So Michael
Because
Jackson,
of human nature.
Ah, there you go. Okay, so Michael Jackson moves on. Okay, now we're into the actual like rounds. So we got what this is the 16 now. We're in the Sweet 16. Is that NCAA speak? So let's start on the left-hand side and we'll go right down the bracket. So Eagles versus Aretha.
Oh, motherfucker.
Hotel California.
Aretha, come on. I mean, there's no. I guess, are we even discussing this?
Please, dear listeners, listen to the Eagles Hotel California podcast. You'll know why we're all going with Aretha.
Hey, You know what, though? I listened to it today, like I mentioned earlier.
You listened to the Eagles album today?
I listened
you poor
to
bastard.
The Eagles episode, our podcast.
Exactly.
Episode.
I think you just proved my point.
Okay. I'm going with Aretha as well, for the record. I just want to say that, okay. Drew, do you have any dissenting opinion in there, or are you also an Aretha?
No, I could see them on stage lined up like they do, singing some like Seven Bridges Road, and Aretha just cleaning shop.
I love this.
Drew's bringing the visuals tonight.
I know.
Like
I'm into
Was
it.
it Glenn Fry with the like long hair, and he's like singing his part really loudly, and Aretha's just like. So,
oh boy,
that was an easy one.
All right, this one's also I think going to be pretty easy. Supertramp, Breakfast in America versus the Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die.
It's gonna be Supertramp for me.
Yeah, I agree.
What?
No,
I was gonna say what.
I
mean,
mean,
Drew,
wow, you got
I
me and
believe,
Bert
but
so
Ryan,
well.
I was like,
I knew Drew was gonna go Supertramp, but I'm gonna go B for Biggie.
yeah.
Not a Supertramp fan. Let me make that clear. But between those two,
I remember this one didn't hit for you
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
no,
hit
I
for
couldn't
you. I
even tell
remember,
you, except for the one. Well, Big Papa, right? Except for that song, I do not know anything from that album. So it would be pretty. And I wasn't like, oh, this album changed me. I'll start listening to him. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have to vote Supertramp.
Yeah. Well, and again, like I said, I'm going with Biggie, but I liked the Supertramp album more than I thought I would.
Right. I did too.
As we talked about. So, Ron?
Oh, Biggie.
Okay. I thought that would be the case, but I didn't want to make assumptions. Okay. Stevie Wonder. Do I even need to say this out loud?
You do this is so unfair.
Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life against Tim McGraw.
Oh, that would have been so much more of a fun contest.
I mean,
Well,
listeners, if you haven't listened to the Tim McGraw episode, go back and listen to that, and you'll understand why we're
or the Stevie episode in that,
or the
regard.
Stevie. Yeah, exactly. I mean, talk about diametric opposition, right?
Dude,
Just
no
for-
shit, right?
Bert, if you could though, for the listeners who, if for some reason weirdly chose this as their first one, Tim McGraw, I believe, was ranked number 100 out of our 100. Where was Stevie?
So Stevie was one of the green ones I was just
Single
talking about a
digits.
second ago. So Tim McGraw we gave him a 1.33 rating, 100th. He was the last in terms of ranking. And then Stevie Wonder is 8.25 total ranking, total score, 16. So he's in the top 20 of the poster.
Hell yeah.
Of the initial ratings. Okay, so Stevie Wonder beats out Tim McGraw. No shocker there. Wu-Tang Clan again. Enter the Wu-Tang against Massive Attack's Blue Lines. Why is Drew showing us Tim McGraw?
Is that your last tattoo, Drew?
He just yeah, it's right in my arm. No, that's what you get when you look up Spotify. This.
Oh, it's like just Spotify.
It's his artist picture. Yeah.
I thought you were making us tell him to his face that he was ranked last.
I don't think he looks too happy, but I dare him to take on Stevie Wonder.
Drew, we listened to that album. He's not very happy.
Yeah, didn't you listen to the letter that his letter wrote about him?
Oh, that's right. My song I chose to represent that album was "Can't Tell Me Nothing." So
yeah. So Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang against Massive Attack, Blue Lines, which we actually kind of did 2 episodes on. The original episode, and then when Ryan's friend Brian joined us to talk more about that record.
Yeah, that's, and I will tell you that actually did influence my decision going into this, because I didn't know who would be, making it on. But I think I still got to give it to the Wu-Tang album. And we know that I have certain rules about stuff. I own one of those 2 records, and it's Wu-Tang. So I feel like,
yeah, I'm also voting for Wu-Tang.
What you got, Drew?
I considering I advanced them through you guys, now I can vote for them, and so I will. I can't vote for Massive Attack against them.
Wow, unanimous Wu-Tang.
Wow. Well, you know what they say.
Ain't nothing to
ain't nothing to fuck with.
Hey, this is PG now. Did you not get the
what?
When the fuck did that happen?
There we go. There we go.
There it is. Okay. Now let's get into
so we got one quarterfinal bracket set up. Let's see what happens next.
Yes. Metallica. So good you got to say it twice. The Black Album versus Dolly Parton, Jolene.
Wow, 2 such desperate things.
I'm going with Metallica on this one.
I'll agree.
I'm going to go with Dolly Parton on this one.
I'm going Metallica.
I'm
I
so
love
angry
Dolly
with you guys right now.
Dolly Parton can't beat out Metallica with that album either.
Dude, whatever. The songwriting.
What? Oh wait, Drew,
Parton,
I thought you were going for Metallica.
He is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, I think you guys are all wrong, and I don't want to play this game anymore.
I'm taking my stuff and going home.
Listen,
if it was a different, if it was an album prior to this from Metallica, okay, all right, let's talk, but like
Master or something.
That one with all those freaking cheesy, like strung out ballads that make me want to wear like acid wash jeans and cry in a pillow of shame. No,
I hear you.
And the Dolly songs are so tight. They're so perfect. Oh, you guys are killing me. Fine, whatever. Metallica.
Hey, it's not that we don't like Jolene.
I think it is. I think it is.
You know what? No, when it comes to the Dolly album, fuck Jolene. The rest of the album is beautiful. Jolene, I love that song, but it's slowly creeping into the I've heard it too much. And all right,
because you've never heard Enter Sandman too much.
You raise a good point with
Fair.
that. But this
Nothing
is
else
a
matters.
pretty disparaging matchup. I mean, you got Metallica and Dolly Parton.
I know.
Refer to their Street Showdown.
Metallica can't
Bad
get
but true
close
kicking
enough
in.
to land a shot through Dolly's chest.
My vote in this case is guided very importantly by I probably won't listen to Dolly Parton, Jolene much more.
Yeah,
if
I'm the
ever,
same way.
on purpose. So, and
So
that means
if you-
nothing about my opinion about it. But
If you were to put those 2 albums in front of me on a Saturday afternoon when I'm whatever, I'm probably gonna reach for the Metallica album. Not that Jolene's bad, but I would derive more enjoyment from listening to the Metallica.
not that there's anything wrong with it.
That's right. That's right.
Nope. Nothing wrong with it.
Ryan has voiced his dissent. And now we move along. Okay, next up, Primal Scream, Screamadelica versus Bruce Springsteen. Is there anyone who's going to choose Primal Scream?
No.
No.
I would be removed from this podcast.
Yeah, Drew would take his shit and go home.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should vote that way just to be a dissenting voice against you Metallica guys.
Hey, nothing else matters, Ryan.
You know it's Sabatro.
Hey, now you know what it feels like to be me, Ryan. We're in the same camp together after all.
Hey, I've stood alone on Amy Winehouse, you know. Bound to happen to all of us at some point.
Wow.
So
He
this
continues to be the boss. So what's our next matchup?
The next matchup is going to be an interesting one. This is Muse,
Oh.
Black Holes and Revelations versus The Who, Quadrophenia.
Mm-hmm. It is a weird one, actually.
Muse. I'm going with Muse.
The Who.
Hmm.
This is the one I don't have
Muse.
quite the answer for. I think I'm going to go with The Who. That's our first tie.
That's a weird tie, too.
So here's the thing.
Ooh.
If we call in tiebreakers, are they going to be familiar with either of these records? Because I know Melissa's not.
Well, it's exposing bias because I think, Ryan, you were the biggest knower of Muse music and you just didn't like this record.
But I like
Yeah.
the band a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I like The Who a
So-
lot. For the record, the Quadrophenia did not hit for me.
no, it's a hard album. And
Yeah.
I gained a lot of love for it watching the movie, but I don't think as an album it's better than the.
No, I mean, but the
All right.
Muse album, as I mentioned, not only was it like not an album I liked of theirs, but it was that Emperor's New Clothes effect where now I had to question even liking them at all because I felt the album was so cheesy. Whereas the Who album is just a Who album that's not my favorite of the Who albums. There's still some great takeaways from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm all in on Who. If we need a tiebreaker, I've got one upstairs that probably knows both of these albums.
Well, I'm texting my ladies right now, but I don't think either of them are going to.
One moment, please.
Reference our scores, would you?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Melissa said, "I don't know either." Sorry. Okay, so for Muse, Black Holes and Revelations. So see, here's the thing, though. These scores again aren't reflective. I think so. Muse,
Well, we didn't
Who
say
goes
that
forward?
this would change.
Who goes
the
Muse
forward?
had Muse had
Oh,
had a
God.
3-point. Hi, Liz.
How did they get buys? Oh, how did Michael Jackson not get a buy? Okay.
There's no bias.
We didn't do buys. We did a first
Okay.
four.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So
They both hurt you guys.
Yeah, it's a very middle land thing.
Well, I mean, so here's where I'm kind of torn. Like, on the one hand, the Who is the Who, and on the other hand, I've seen Muse live, and they actually put on a decent show. So, like, I saw Muse in support of Black Holes and Revelations
Oh.
actually at Can Roxas. They were a closer one night. Eminem was a closer a different night.
look at her name dropping. They saw
I've been
Eminem.
to
He's a
shows, you guys. I've been to concerts.
He's a real jerk
Um,
in person.
Here's the thing: is I'm gonna give it to Muse just because I hate that Who album so much.
Okay, that's
All
fair.
right.
All right,
Thank
not
you
well
for your
Mike
gets
support
it.
of the
Thank you,
podcast.
Liz.
yay!
All right, our first tiebreaker,
Steve's toast.
celebrity endorsement and celebrity coming in to weigh in on the tiebreaker. So that's good, and
so-
we're able to move forward.
That's awesome. As Liz was getting here, just for the record, Muse was a 3.33 group average. Quadrophenia was a 4.50 group average.
Ooh, an upset. So the
It-
underdog
it's
took it.
kind of an upset, but I also, I mean, like I don't remember what I re-rated the Muse record, but in the podcast episode where we talked about it, I increased my score for that album. So again, it's like, you know,
I think the upset's caused by me because I should have been a Who vote on that, and I'm not sure if it's my current mood or what. But those two against each other, I feel like
I thought for sure you were going to be a Who voter because you went the extra mile on the film and everything.
I did,
Yeah.
and I liked it a lot. But I'm looking album to album and thinking, I mean, well, let's face them off on the street. Muse doing whatever they look like when they're rocking out, which is probably pretty cool.
Lasers
And,
on their guitars, right? That's what.
That's
you
right.
know, Roger Daltrey with no shirt on, which is pretty cool, but like singing one of their like 515, one of their confusing songs from that album, and I think Muse would take them.
All right.
I will say
okay.
this though: Muse, as the underdog, is about to go up in the quarterfinals against the finalists of this decision,
Yes,
and
and
I
this-
think they're in trouble.
Well,
Yes.
I'm convinced that either of them would have lost the next round, or
Yeah.
both. So
Yeah, so really it doesn't matter. Okay, so next up is Michael Jackson Thriller once again against Johnny Cash
Oh,
at Folsom Prison.
Man,
This is tricky.
this is tough.
I mean, this is.
I'm going Johnny.
Michael. A.
I'm going Johnny as well, and and again, this has to do with it being an album. Gosh, this is hard though.
Yeah, because you had said Thriller isn't. It feels like a best of or a greatest
But,
hit.
but it's also there's such good songs.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on.
But
you,
it's Johnny Cash.
You
It's
want to
Johnny
phone a
Cash.
friend? Yeah, but it's Michael Jackson.
Johnny Cash would take Michael Jackson's ass any day
Well,
in a Drew
I mean-
fight.
Yeah.
I gotta say, if I'm gonna, Rick, this one's really hard for me.
Drew, where are you at? Let
Yeah.
Ryan stew on it for a
Let me
minute.
stew.
Michael,
Yes.
Fuck.
it shouldn't.
Do we have to call in another tiebreaker?
Yes.
Are you seriously gonna get Johnny out in the first round, man?
I'm here to push Johnny, so we need a tiebreaker. Who's got the next one?
Okay, let me
Oh,
see.
My
if-
wife's asleep.
Let me
Well,
see if Lisa answers her phone.
Oh,
Melissa.
that's what I'm.
Melissa.
I don't know how familiar she is with Johnny Cash, though.
Oh, you see, you're calling the ringer in.
Yeah, he is. This is so biased, man. This is
I know.
Yeah, this is
Fucking
gonna be a-
bullshit.
Well, it's the only person I know.
That's true because she loves Michael, right?
Lucky for you, my phone literally doesn't get reception in my own house. I can't make the call to
Well,
upstairs.
you're on
Well,
airplane.
you're on airplane mode.
I turned that off.
Oh, okay. Fair.
I'll
Well,
try
it
to
was worth
FaceTime.
asking.
We could also flip the coin if we need to. But for the record,
Yeah, what were the scores?
the scores were Michael Jackson. Oh my God, they're tied.
Fuck
you
off. No way.
6.67 each. So
Oh.
Melissa says Thriller 100%, but I
You might have
can't
to-
believe we actually they're both ranked
It's Michael
40.
Jackson's Thriller versus Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues, live at Folsom Prison. Like, which is a better record?
Yeah, so there you go. So Melissa says I'm biased. Have not heard Johnny Cash beside what was the movie with Joaquin Phoenix, Walk the Line?
Yeah.
It's just for fun. We knew you would say that, but we are tied on it.
A few moments later.
All right. So,
So,
Lisa's just said
Thank you.
Johnny Cash.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard too.
Yeah. Yeah.
she was so annoyed. She's like, I do not
So
want to be. at
are
this
we gonna
party."
have to flip the coin? I guess.
Well,
you want to
she-
call Liz again?
She did put a vote in for Michael.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
That's
Well,
cool.
so did
all right.
Melissa. But
If you want to, I mean, well, it's a
It's a
tie-breaking
double Michael
vote.
Collins. Let's move it.
okay,
Yeah,
all right,
I-
Michael,
yeah.
it is.
I'll take the loss. We have
Michael, it
other.
is. Yes.
We
Yeah, we
have
got
other
rounds.
Well, so well,
Want to be starting something versus Folsom Prison Blues just kills it. Sorry.
okay. So I think what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a break to hear from this week's sponsor.
HFATP. Our service will pick you up, suit you up, teach you the sport, and drop you off at a rink. HFATP. Hockey for all the people. You're responsible for transportation home.
I didn't even know we were getting more
Yeah.
sponsors,
It
even
is.
for bonus episodes. God, we're basically
We're
gods.
huge. We're huge. We are. I'm. Listeners, you can't see it, but we're all bathing in cash.
We're big in Japan.
So thanks to HFATP, Hockey for All the People.
I mean, getting the athletes behind us we're going to be like on the
Yeah.
Super Bowl next year.
I mean, I assume that will be the halftime show. Yeah,
Probably.
because what follows up Kendrick, like the 100 albums dude.
It's the only possible follow up.
I mean, hey, let's be honest. 4 white guys would make some people happier.
Hey,
Oh,
We'll-
you just made Ryan spit
we'll
out
edit that
like
out,
expensive
folks. Only-
whiskey.
only if Tim McGraw beats out Stevie Wonder.
Oh, why? Yeah, that's a fist fight. That's all right.
Okay, let's keep this train rolling.
Yeah.
Going back to the left-hand side, now we've got Aretha Franklin versus the Notorious B.I.G.
Aretha.
Is anyone going to choose something other than Aretha?
Actually, I think I would like to choose Aretha.
Aretha's the winner. She's gone on to the Final Four.
I'm
Oh,
really
man.
surprised, Bert. I seriously thought you were going to choose Biggie.
So, I mean, I love them both, but I it's just Aretha kind of comes out on top in that one.
I'm with Ron here,
Yeah,
having recently re-listened to every episode, just like you, Bert. The way you talked about Biggie was
Yeah.
so enthusiastic, and the way you talked about legendary voice Aretha Franklin was
AKA turkey cutlet.
Yeah.
So I'm
that's a compliment. So
Of
yeah,
generality.
here's what I will say. Here's what I will say. I get, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and perhaps this is a conversation for another time, another episode or something. But my love of hip hop is like way up high.
visual
right?
aid.
So
Everybody, he leaned back, and
I leaned back and raised my arm.
to make his hand taller because it's just not very tall.
But so like as I've been adding records to my record collection and stuff, they've been hip hop records. You know what I mean? Like it's like that is I think my jazz is definitely in there, hip hop, but is kind of my true. I really love good hip hop, and Biggie is definitely in that category. But without Aretha, without R&B. Like there is no hip hop, right? It's a progression. So,
Weird voting mechanism, but I appreciate.
well, and think of it as an homage, if you will.
Okay, so really, you were voting for Biggie through Aretha. Okay, that's fine.
Mhm. Don't worry.
Okay. Speaking of next round,
Ooh.
Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life versus the Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody
I mean, for me,
That's-
no offense to Wu Tang, and you guys know how much I enjoyed that, especially because I was pretty unfamiliar with it. That Stevie album is
It's
perfect.
yeah.
if someday we were to do this process with all 100 albums, Stevie probably makes the top 4, if not the finals.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, Stevie, it might, right? Because are we not going to pit the finalists after each 20 episodes?
I
against
mean
each other?
that we could definitely do that. Yeah,
I think
I
we're gonna have to-
haven't thought that far ahead, man. Like,
Yeah, because we'll have 5, and then I think we'll have to toilet bowl somebody back in to make at least 6, and then fire it out.
Okay.
I've
Wait, hold up.
toilet
Are we
bowl?
bringing a turd back in? Because Tim McGraw doesn't deserve to be in here.
That's
That would be a sacrificial lamb right there, because it wouldn't get through a conversation.
all right, gang. Stevie Wonder comes out on top. Metallica versus The Boss.
That's going to be Bruce Springsteen for me every single time.
I'm gonna go with Bruce Springsteen.
Really?
Yes.
That's not where I thought. Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna go Metallica just to piss off Ryan.
No, I'm not pissed at all. Actually, I thought that's exactly where you would vote.
Oh fuck. I miscalculated. But all right, so I love Bruce Springsteen, I really do. not my favorite album of his. And if you give me both and you're like, hey, which one do you want to listen to? I'll probably go Metallica, to be honest.
And I would imagine that Ryan would say something similar, like, yeah, if it were Metallica, you know,
And
Master of Puppets.
or
Master of Puppets or
Yeah.
something like that, it's a different conversation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. But Drew, I
I mean,
don't even think, I assume you're for Bruce.
Yeah.
Because you love
absolutely.
Bruce Springsteen.
Even if it, and I like Metallica too, but even if it was a different album, it would be
Yeah.
Bruce. I mean, I love that album.
I think when it's Bruce for Drew, nothing else matters.
Oh.
Sadly, but sad but true. You are.
I'm trying to come up with a Bruce Springsteen pun, and I'm falling short here, guys. So okay, so Bruce it is. Next up, Muse, Black Holes and Revelations versus Michael Jackson, A Thriller. No contest for me. It's Michael all the way.
Yeah.
Ron?
Michael Jackson.
We got a cohesive vote there.
Yeah, that's a unanimous. We've had a couple of those already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we've had another.
Oh.
Okay, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen,
no.
let's pause
Quarterfinals?
for a second. This is the final four. You've got Aretha Franklin. I've never loved a man the way I love you. You've got Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. You've got Bruce Springsteen,
Oh, man.
and you've got Michael Jackson. So let's start on the left-hand side. We'll
Wait,
say
no.
Aretha-
Before
No.
we start, I want Drew to tell me more about their superpowers in the alley. I think it'll help me vote.
Well, see, these guys that didn't get to their superpowers, other than Michael Jackson's obviously dancing, and he goes, ah! And everything explodes around him. Bruce Springsteen. No, I did. I had Bruce Springsteen. He would be like, whatever you were trying to tell him or fight against him with, he would just have his guitar and be like, and he'd sing a song about it to you until he just wore you down. I did not get to Stevie Wonder's special talent.
I was gonna say it's something like he plays a Hammond organ or a Rhodes or something, and like lightning comes out of the keys or something.
I figure with Stevie, it'd be like Poison Ivy from Batman because he knows the secret life of plants.
Oh, God.
I just wanted to say something. I just referenced my bracket that I did in our first listen by myself. And my final four was Songs in the Key of Life versus Metallica.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
I don't
Drew.
know where we lost.
So wait, you did a whole bracket on your own based
Yeah.
on your ratings.
To where I came up with this idea. No, along with the ratings. I didn't base it on the rating, which was interesting because in some cases they were slightly unreflective of one another.
Bro.
But what?
No, that was epic.
That's a lot.
So,
Wow.
and also, you said
It's easy.
more My's in a row than the song My Sharona.
I also had Born to Run versus Thriller on the other half of the. So
Oh, wow. So we're
strangely
really
enough,
Wow.
close.
Like we are close to what you were talking about.
So
as
we're
I
all
expected.
We're
So
all
you
just
didn't
parts
have-
of your brain.
So you had Metallica in the top four.
Yeah.
So you didn't have Stevie?
What happened was
He didn't
no,
have Aretha.
Stevie.
You didn't have
I didn't
Aretha.
have Aretha. Aretha, Ryan, you're gonna kick me from Kansas City. Aretha got beat out by Appetite for Destruction somehow on this.
I'm not surprised. It's a,
But that was why I was-
controversial connection.
Yeah, that's why I was struggling with that vote to begin with. So
Yeah.
interestingly, we started out with that vote. Was that our first one? So
It was.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
It was.
So
yeah.
yeah. But on this
All right.
for our podcast listen, I really dug in on that Aretha album and it came truer to me, as I did with the Guns N' Roses, and it lessened interest with me,
Yeah.
the non-big ones. Anyway,
No, that's good. That's
pretty
good.
cool.
Let's get this
Aretha-
quarterfinal going. Here we go.
Aretha, Stevie, Bruce, Michael. All artists that you can recognize by their first name. Let's start with Aretha and Stevie.
Oh, man.
Dude, that's
This is-
hard.
This is hard.
It's not hard for me. Stevie Wonder, 100 times out of 100.
Dude,
I love Aretha, but for these two albums, I will always reach for Songs in the Key of Life because it's just such a great album. or as Ryan called it in the podcast episode, an albums.
Yeah, no shit. Ooh.
I am equally voting for Stevie Wonder.
Ryan.
Well, I mean, Ron, I don't want you to feel invisible. We see you, we love you, but your vote no longer matters because I'm voting for Steve.
All right. I know I said it several thousand times. If this
If
was
it
young,
had been, yeah.
yeah, it would be a no contest. I'm going Stevie.
Unanimous.
It's I mean, this is not just Stevie's album. It's the album.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
really is.
it's a great album. Fucking Sir Duke, come on.
Yeah. So that means that I am going to now officially say that Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, is a filet mignon.
Oh. Hey, cut the beef with no fat.
Hold the A1. Okay, so we're down now to Bruce Springsteen versus Michael Jackson.
Damn.
Man.
For me, it's Michael. It's Thriller.
I'm going to open these up.
Michael
Open these
Jackson.
up.
I'm going
Ron.
Michael Jackson.
I'm going
Wow.
Bruce.
Uh-oh.
And I got to tell you, for me, again, it comes down to, God, I'm such a sucker for long play and actually sitting down and listening to stuff. It's a shortcoming in a world where people like singles.
Mm-hmm.
I like an album, and the Bruce is a better album for me. And it also it succeeds in a way on styles of music that don't usually connect with me, and that's challenging. It's not just a couple of cool riffs. I even listened to the lyrics. Come on.
Yeah. The power of the poetry in that album. The fact that there is no downfalls on that album. And this is my opinion, of course. If any of you believe there are, that's fine. But comparing the two albums, I'm looking at Thriller now and I'm seeing, The Girl Is Mine is on that album. I mean, and then you got Human Nature, like I said. PYT is a good one. The Lady of My Life. Like there's a couple dips in that album that for lack of anything other than comparison, I gotta put Bruce above it.
Well, then I've got a tiebreaker ready to go.
Drew, there is a tie, isn't it? That's a tie.
That's a
This
tie.
is inspired, Drew, by you.
Okay.
You've been kind of coming forth with these epic battles, visual battles. And so my man went straight to D&D. So I have two 20-sided dice here. Bert, I need some information from you.
Okay.
We're going to have, if you can imagine their music energy coming at each other and crashing to see which energy would win. That's two attacks, right? So we're going to take their original rating and then roll. That'll be their bonus against their die roll. So what is Bruce's original rating from the group?
Bruce was an 8.33. He is the highest rated album in this first 20 albums that we did. 8.3.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's Michael's?
6.67.
Okay, so Michael coming at a little bit of a disadvantage. Gentlemen, who do you think should be blue versus green?
Bruce should be blue.
I was going to say the same.
Oh, my goodness.
They're tied.
Hold on, I got to do a little math here. This is closer than I thought it would be.
Oh. We can't see the dice, everybody.
Dear
none of us,
dear listeners, you can't see it, but Ryan just broke out a protractor.
I did not.
Maybe it's an abacus.
He's not that fucking old, Bert.
Meanwhile, Michael Jackson, and for his uniform, he's got his red sequin jacket with the hat, with the lock of hair coming down the front, the gloves, of course, the shiny socks, and he's doing some spins and and Bruce is like singing him off. So it's a pretty fierce battle on the streets of Philadelphia.
Michael was a superhero. He was Captain EO. You guys
Oh my
remember?
God. I
remember,
forgot about
remember
that.
Captain EO?
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang.
So this hurts. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to start there. All right. Because I want a clean edit for Bert. So with Bruce being the blue die and having the advantage at a attack score of 8.33 in his advantage, Bruce rolled a 15. Not bad. Not bad. So essentially he gets 23 and change, right? Michael, the underdog, with 6.67 as his attack strength, came in and rolled an 18. And he wins.
Oh,
Wow. Via the dice.
Michael Jackson. Oh my God.
And
I
that,
needed one of those.
I
Yeah,
want
but
you to know
final round's a no-brainer.
I disagree with that strong.
Hey, you were the one that decided to consult the dice.
Well, we had to tie a break somehow. What
I
are we going to
agree.
do? Is sit here?
How does it feel, Ryan, to
But as a
contradict your own self by chance?
Hey, man.
I mean, as a group of four, we're agreeing that we need a collective voice.
We
might as
should
well-
we should have texted Matt. I didn't think about that because he was the only other person who kind of participated. But
Well, if this
anyway.
turns into a tie here,
It's
Well,
not.
I don't think it's going to.
it could. It could.
It could.
But I don't remember who the finalists are. Bert, can you refresh our memory?
Okay, we are down to the finalists, guys. Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, versus Michael Jackson, Thriller.
I'd like to go first.
Go
Yes.
first, Ryan.
And I would like to say that if Bruce had been passed on to the final, which he should have,
By your own hand.
Yeah, right. You know it's not rigged, so
hey, I exactly. I could have cheated there, clearly. But if Bruce had been passed on, I would have still picked Stevie. So Stevie Wonder for me, 100%. That album is perfect.
Well, hold on. I got to adjust my headphones. You said that was perfect? I've
There
only ever heard that about another album, which
There
I
are no
do
tens.
believe was Marvin Gaye.
That's not true. I said that album's side A is perfect.
All right, I stand corrected.
okay.
And
There
by
are-
the way, that side A is maybe the best side A of any record ever made. And we're talking about what's going on. And challenge me, listeners. You write in, I dare you. I dare you to find a better side A of a record
that
than
album
Marvin
kills.
Gaye's What's Going On.
That kills.
Side B gets questionable, but
So I agree. I think that Stevie is as close to. I mean, as we've said at the beginning of the making these podcast episodes, there are no tens, right? There's always room for improvement. I don't think there's much room for improvement on Songs in the Key of Life. I love Thriller, and I'm really happy to see that it made it to the final. But Songs in the Key of Life is such a good album.
Drew?
He's good. Yeah, it's got my vote too. My finals result was Michael Jackson versus Bruce Springsteen, and Bruce did win on that. And so then it was Bruce versus Stevie. I ultimately chose Bruce. Now that I don't have to choose Bruce versus Stevie, it is hands down Stevie Wonder. And maybe, I'll admit, when we have talked through some of these things, when we do these podcasts, absolutely changes my perspective on some things. And for those two albums to be the top two is enough of a win for me for both of them. But to say, Stevie Wonder over Bruce is easy to do.
Yeah.
That would be actually a big mood thing, to be honest, if that were to change.
Ron?
I'm butthurt that Johnny Cash didn't make it farther. But if it came down to Johnny Cash and Stevie Wonder, I'd be more tortured than the decision that's laid before me. And God damn it, I'm going with Stevie Wonder.
Stevie wins. So here's what's funny. I mean, not funny, interesting. Stevie, I think I mentioned this earlier. Stevie, this album, Songs in the Key of Life, we gave it an 8.25 group rating. Under Bruce Springsteen was an 8.33.
Is that the adjusted after?
No, that was
Oh.
on the initial listen. That was not the adjusted listen, readjusted scores, and without Ron, obviously, since he didn't fill it out as we went through this. But
Fuck your paperwork.
but I'm looking at what the differences were. So Stevie, I gave Stevie an 8, and Ron and Drew gave it a 9. I don't know why I gave it an 8. And Bruce, I gave a 7. Drew gave it a 9.5, and Ryan gave it an 8.5. So I think it's Drew's 9.5 that put in the initial listen Bruce over Stevie.
But Michael, though, giving Bruce the 10th Avenue freeze out on the semifinal there.
Yeah. Well, I also ranked them each time we listened. I put one before or below the next, and Bruce is quite a bit in front of this album on that.
Yeah.
I hadn't dug in on Songs in the Key of Life before. It's my wife's one of her favorite albums. She plays it all the time, but I have not sat down and critically listened, and that increased its interest in me so much.
Yeah.
The several times I did for this. So,
But I mean, if you look at this draft, there are personal opinions here and there that we would have liked to see our chosen favorites advance a little bit farther. But I mean, come on, we came down to Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson.
That's
I
great.
mean,
yeah.
That's a good fucking bracket. And Stevie Wonder pulling it out.
I think, a credit to our critical listening and study of these albums too is, as folks who have listened, the actual album decisions are not ours. They are by a poster, which seems pretty random. And so to have an album that good make it even this, onto the poster makes me feel good, to your point, Ron. And to know that I hang out with people that did not make Tim McGraw go all the way to the final also makes me feel good.
Hey, Bert, are you going to post the bracket, dude?
I just took a screenshot of the bracket as it's filled out. It doesn't there's no confetti around Stevie's name or anything like that, but we can talk about that. I can mention it in the show notes. But so yeah, I saved this. I've already created a bracket for the next 20, just so that I'm working ahead. But what I will say is I think this was a great idea, Drew. So thank you for forwarding this idea along. I think it was a lot of fun. Hey, after intense debate and lots of listening, Stevie Wonder, the winner of the first season of the 100 episodes podcast bracket. I don't know what we're calling this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to find out what we do with this aspect going forward.
Yeah.
Almost as much as our listeners, who I know are just rabid to know what we're going to do with this information. The emails you must be getting about it.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say to the listeners, take a look at the bracket. Let us know what you think about it. What's your personal bracket?
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, if you look at the bracket, listeners, and you can imagine this being a menu at a restaurant, what hellscape Applebee's?
I can't remember what were our Stevie restaurants. I'm going to look back in my notes.
oh man,
To our listeners, if you're looking at this bracket, you know what their restaurants are? 4 dipshits that are talking out their ass.
that works. No, I was just thinking. I looked at mine and I got to the final 8, and I never filled it in because I couldn't do it. So it is going to be tough to take this all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Warning you right now.
Well, it was hard.
It
was hard
tough.
just with the first 20. I can't even imagine what's going to happen.
I walked away.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks, guys. This has been a blast. Listeners, please let us know what you think. Like Ron said, take a look at the bracket. Tell us who would have come out on top in your bracket. You can let us know at 100albums at bertislo.com. That's 100albums at bertislo.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 100albums podcast, or you can visit our website at 100albumspodcast.com. And stay tuned for season 2. The first episode of season 2 will be dropping soon.
Well, what is it?
And that would be Sinead O'Connor. I do not want what I haven't got.
Bravo to you for saying that correctly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I pride myself in saying titles correctly. So that's going to be the first episode of season 2. Stay tuned. And as always, guys, it's a blast. I look forward to this all the time. And have a great week, everyone.
Peace.
Yeah.
You know what I might do?
What's
So
that?
that you don't have to share screen. I might just open up the bracket in a separate window.
Hi, baby.
Hey, baby. Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
Sorry, I always forget, man. I got my dogs. They're just staring at me all cutely.
Are your dogs?
Hey, baby.
barking?
This is going to be a good one, guys.